All right, I've never felt so bipolar in my entire life. The markets are bouncing. It's been a rough couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks. It's been all-time lows, at least sentiment-wise. I mean, some of the token prices are, including Bitcoin, still close to 100 grand, but people have been giant pussies. However, today, people are starting to see the light. We've had some strong bounces, and a little bit of hope, a little bit of optimism is back in the air. And I want to talk to you about a narrative that really big brain traders who've turned a few $1,000s into millions of dollars are heavily looking at and think are going to be the next big thing, including talking about a token, not sponsored at all, on this video right now that is a new token that is absolutely tearing apart the charts. Even in a pessimistic sort of landscape, it is absolutely skyrocketing. It reminds me of something. So we're going to jump into that token and a couple other tokens that are also fitting that narrative. Let's go straight in. Alex Becker, our man, our golden KOL, says, BlackRock, governments, corporations are buying more than ever. People that put their life savings into Chill Guy are telling you that it's over. All this money is just going to flow into utility alts. That is the meta that we think we're under. And guys, make no mistake, you have to remember that we are in one of the biggest financial revolutions, probably the biggest financial revolution that there has ever been. And trillions of dollars are literally going to be flowing into this market just because we're riding the coattails of Bitcoin. On top of that, blockchain, insane technology. Some people put on par with fire, but more specifically on par with the internet. Being able to decentralize everything. And we forget sometimes trading meme coins that there is strong utility, as long as we're patient and allow them to build, that is coming to the market. With that being said, there's also some crazy overvaluations, which we're going to talk about in a second too. But remember, this is a tech revolution at its core. And for fun, we dabble in memes and get really wealthy doing it. Alex Becker also says utility. Vintage, classic, alt season. This is Feb 20, which is just yesterday. Now, there's a token. I'm going to talk about the token in a second, but it reminds me of this token last bull market. This is called Stepn. If you don't remember Stepn, they were an NFT project with real world utility. They basically paid you to go for runs. And so I bought into the NFTs. I bought their runners, the sneakers, as you call them in the US, and went for runs like along the beach here where I live and literally got paid like $70 US to go for a 3K run. And I'm like, holy crap, this is insane. The big narrative, because we trade narratives here on the channel, I think that's really the only thing that can move markets. But the big narrative with Stepn was it literally had, I mean, a lot of partners here, including Adidas, the VP of Adidas on their board of advisors. And that's why everyone's like, okay, that's legit. You can see back in the day, this thing soared to what was a $2 billion valuation. And the charts here on CoinMarketCap are a little bit messed up, but I can compare it with something like Bitcoin. However, if I zoom in, okay, I'm not allowed to zoom in here, but I'm comparing GMT, the Stepn token, with Bitcoin. You could see when Bitcoin was actually pulling back, really hard to see because I'm so far out, you could see that Stepn was flying, giving 2,500% ROI. And so recently, I've had a look at this over the last 2 days. I've been looking at new narratives that are popping up. And I saw this insane green bubble up here called IP. And I'm like, what the hell is IP? And what's going on? And this is the flashback to Stepn. Now, not just IP, but there's other layer 1 utility alts like Becker. And Simon says it best. Seems to be new shiny L1 season. Strong bounces on Peak, Story, Becker, and S. You also saw S right here at 22%. Just today, guys, is a massive bounces. And IP's up 87% just today. Overall, alts don't look bad today. Sideline money slowly coming down the risk curve. Watching closely here. And Becker Chain is a utility L1. We're not going to talk too much about Becker Chain. I don't know too much about it. I haven't studied it so much. But if you have a look over the last 7 days, you can see it's on an absolute tear from $5.60 to $9, which is a large ROI given the market sentiment. You can see that's up and to the right where everything else is down and to the right. However, what the hell is IP? What the hell is up 87% today? And if we go a week, I'd actually be curious because yesterday, so it's up 168%, leading the top 100 tokens along with S. And what's the Becker? So yeah, the ones that we're talking about. This is the narrative. That's why we're doing a video on it. So IP is a project called Story. And they're currently at, unfortunately, a $1.27 billion market cap. Now, that doesn't mean it's over. You can see they've actually had a nice pullback. If we go by market cap, they almost hit a 1.75 and they pulled back to that $1 billion level. You can see if you zoom all the way out, they've been around since February 14th, at least in CoinMarketCap, but it can be a little bit slower. Fully diluted value here at $5 billion. So I'm going to go into Story. I'm going to show you how awesome of a project this is. Again, I'm not sponsored by them. I've just found them because they're absolutely tearing the place apart. I don't know if they're going to go up further. They likely will, but I don't think I'm going to be putting my money in because I feel like I've missed the boat already, and I want to be using this to look for the next possible utility play, which I'm actually going to show you one at the end of this video as well with a much smaller market cap. But I think there still could be upside here with this new utility narrative, and I've done some study today on Story, and it looks pretty fantastic. So Story Protocol, what is it? They've got this little IP moniker tag here that is being shared by their community, just like the SPX 6900 has a little dollar or green yen emoji sort of thing, and that's how they identify each other on Twitter, and sort of has people ask questions and feel like they're missing out on something because they go, oh, wait, what is that? They say they tokenize intelligence, which is going back to the utility play. Again, grain of salt. They're already valued at $5 billion valuation. So even though they're utility, even though I think they're awesome, they got a ridiculous team and ridiculous backers and founders, make no mistake, they're valued at $5 billion. Story is the world's IP blockchain. Okay, that gave us absolutely nothing, but they do have 700,000 followers coming from absolutely nowhere. That's pretty insane. Now, the Story mainnet just went live, as we saw, and they say AI runs on IP. If you don't know what IP is, it's intellectual property. So Harry Potter, the intellectual property is the characters and the storyline inside of Harry Potter. Story makes IP programmable, because I'm going to give you the cliff notes here and we're going to dive a bit deeper together. Story are planning to decentralize intellectual property, just like our Harry Potter reference that I'll stick with. Imagine if J.K. Rowling uploaded all of the IP onto the Story blockchain, stored it there, had requirements on what you needed to do, what you needed to talk about, how much commission you needed to pay her, and therefore allowed all fans worldwide to create Harry Potter short films, to create full Harry Potter cinema-length movies, to create Harry Potter comic books, to create Harry Potter plushies and dolls and beds, or to create a Harry Potter companion with an AI backing. Whatever it is that you want to create, even if you wanted to rewrite the books for her, as long as you're using the intellectual property that she's uploaded to the blockchain, which programmed into the smart contract, make sure that you and I and whoever else is making the fan fiction abides by her rules and parameters and is paying her a commission, sort of like NFTs were supposed to do, where the original creators would always get a commission when anyone bought and sold on the secondary market. Story's trying to do that for all intellectual property, and they have an insane team, and they talk about how there's a $61 trillion, which is insane, guys. I think Bitcoin's valued at under $2 trillion, maybe $1.5 trillion. This is a $61 trillion industry, which is the industry of media, healthcare, energy. Anything that is intellectual property, you can decentralize it and have people pay to use it. So you can see it says Story is the world's IP blockchain that transforms intelligence into programmable assets. And they also have the features and the AI behind it to help you actually turn it into these assets. I watched this video here on 3.5x speed, but there's two founders who are very well accomplished founders. This guy actually sold his company for $440 million. I believe he's like early 30s, but he sold it when he was like 23, 24. So just like an absolute genius kid. And then this is his friend here who does the AI and tech side. And then you've got Andreessen Horowitz. I believe this is Ben Horowitz. I might be mistaken here. But he talks about exactly how it works, how it goes down. And they got the big hitters, they got the funding, they got the team behind them, and they have the narrative too. Just as Bitcoin emerged in the wake of the financial crisis, Story addresses AI Napster's moment head on. IP is the scarce and invaluable asset of today's intelligent economy. Story is purpose-built layer 1 blockchain that tokenizes intellectual property into a programmable store value in an AI-driven world. They have a full white paper going back, real flashback here. Who has a white paper these days? Well, it's utility alt season apparently, and so we're going back to people actually having white papers. We don't need to read it all. There's a couple of things I want to point out to you, which are down here. You can see it's really well laid out. They talk about the tech behind it, which is sort of like the yellow paper vibe, and I mean, I don't really care how it works as long as it works. I trust that it does work given their team and their backing, but yeah, this is how people are going to rent IP. What I thought was interesting is that their narrative is strong in artificial intelligence, which says videos on how you can actually use the Story platform. For example, we log into J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter IP. There's like AI and transformative tools and building kits that's going to allow you to make your own stories, to make your own characters, make your own visuals out of it. So they got the AI narrative. They've also got the AI agent narrative. They say AI is evolving from standalone models to networks of autonomous agents that can sense, decide, and act to achieve goals. This represents a shift from viewing AI as just a tool to seeing it as an ecosystem where agents collaborate and generate value through their interactions. On their website, they have their ecosystem projects where people are building on top of it. you can see all of these brands and IP that is currently building on top of it. You've got AI on top of it as well, consumer, DeFi, they're in the DeFi, and they're technically in the real world assets niche as well, which, I mean, it sits on every topic that's hot at the moment, especially real world assets, that people think that's going to be next thing. Because what is a real world asset? Well, it's like taking gold and taking that real world asset and tokenizing and putting it on the blockchain and representing it on the blockchain. Well, that's exactly what Story is doing, but with intellectual property. They're taking a real world thing, although intellectual property is hard to actually put your hand on. It's real in the real world. You'll go to jail if you steal someone's IP, but they're taking that and putting it on the blockchain. So they are also part of the RWA narrative. Now, just like Murad says, pay attention to the tokens that hold strong when the market dips, or pay attention to tokens that bounce the hardest when markets get a little bit of hope back in them. Have a look at this token here. Now, this token is our longest sponsor of this channel, TAI, TARS. They've bounced 22% today. You can see up from about 15 cents all the way up to 20 cents, just crossing that 20 cents literally as we're recording this video. They have a $200 million market cap and a circulating value of a $138 million market cap, but they are sort of sitting on the fence of being on Solana, which I personally really love. We built an entire business on the Solana blockchain, and I think even though the narrative's taken a little bit of a hit at the moment, especially because it's the home of all the meme coins, utility on Solana is obviously, as you can see by this TARS bubble, performing extremely well, because TARS isn't a meme coin, TARS is an AI token. They have the first digital assistant for the Solana Saga mobile, because a lot of people don't know Solana is actually in hardware as well, and they have mobile phones that people could have bought back in the day for a couple of Solana. They have a search engine trained to be your second brain. TGPT finds every answer for you. An AI console, and even an AI agents marketplace, throwing their hat into the AI agent narrative as well. On Twitter, they describe themselves as an AI infrastructure protocol on Solana and a recipient of the Solana AI grant, which is pretty big for the narrative. And they were also in the Google development program, which is also a very strong narrative for them. They have 218,000 followers, and at the moment are positioned well for being on Solana, being in the AI niche, being in the agent niche, and also being a utility token, because as we saw at the start of this video, all the money, all the attention is flowing back to utility tokens. Now, we don't know if this is going to be a long-term sustaining thing or just another niche, but make sure you hit that subscribe button below to make sure you stay in the loop and stay informed in these very erratic markets.